Amazing Google. Each Google representative is distinguished by a casual name. The most well-known is Googler, which is utilized for each worker. This is trailed by Noogler, articulated, New-Gler, which is utilized for recently enlisted employees, Googlers who relate to the LGBT people group or straightforwardly uphold them are called Gaygler. They ought not be mistaken for Greygoogler, which alludes to Googlers more than 40 years of age. Greygoogler is shaped from dim Googler. Dim here alludes to their silver hair. Not all have silver hair, yet that doesn't matter. Doogler is for canines possessed by Googlers and the Googlers who own these canines. Brooglers is held for Googlers who drink lager, while Jooglers alludes to Jewish Googlers. Ex-Googlers are undependable from the naming disorder. They are called Zoogler, which is articulated, Zoogler. The name was framed from ex-Googler. There is a typical confusion that Googlers get one day away from work each week to spend on close-to-home activities they think will profit Google. This is the celebrated 20% time, which stays one of the characterizing signs of Google. Numerous effective Google administrations, including AdSense, Gmail and Google News, were begun by Googlers during their 20% time. However, the same number of Nooglers have discovered, to their failure, and numerous Googlers and Zooglers definitely know, the 20% time is dead. It still in fact exists, however that is just on paper. Google has been cinching down on it for quite a long time and it is practically difficult to get that time off today. Some Googlers state the 20% time presently exists as the 120% time. That is the 100% time they spend on their center venture and an extra 20% time they spend on their center task. In the event that you are believing that seems like extra time, you are correct. 2. Our latest videos. 8. You get the Google 15. In your first year, each Googler gets 3 complete dinners consistently for nothing. In addition, they approach bunches of products of the soil they can gorge on to keep their stomach-related frameworks busy. Googlers approach so much food that Nooglers regularly increase 15 additional pounds just after they are employed. Googlers consider this the Google 15. Gossip has it that Google serves so much food since Prime supporter, Sergey Brin, requires each Googler to be inside 200 feet from food. Each Googler gets 3 complete dinners consistently for nothing. In addition, they approach heaps of products of the soil they can gorge on to keep their stomach-related frameworks busy. Googlers approach so much food that Nooglers regularly increase 15 additional pounds just after they are employed. Googlers consider this the Google 15. Talk has it that Google serves so much food since fellow benefactor, Sergey Brin, requires each Googler to be inside 200 feet from food. Google is acclaimed for the eccentric inquiries addresses it asks its future representatives. Indeed, even understudies are not saved of these unusual inquiries. They have been approached to appraise the quantity of tennis balls they think can find a way into an airplane. Prospective Googlers are posed more troublesome yet similarly abnormal inquiries like the number of books are distributed in the U.S. yearly, the quantity of hairstyles individuals get in the U.S. consistently, how they would plan an ATM for old individuals, and how they would eliminate vagrancy in San Francisco on the off chance that they have the forces to. Google comprehends its unusual inquiries. Questions are regularly troublesome and has proceeded to boycott some of them. This incorporates coherent inquiries like why so event covers around to bizarre ones like the number of piano tuners are alive, the number of vacuums are made in the U.S. consistently, and the quantity of golf balls that will fill a school bus. Each noogler is relegated to a stepping stool the second they are utilized. By stepping stool, we mean the course through which they can be advanced. For instance, nooglers utilized into business jobs can just ascend the business stepping stool, called O ladder, while architects can just scale the T ladder. The T ladder is the most rewarding stepping stool and is the one most Googlers need to ascend. Numerous Googlers really start their professions in different divisions with plans to move to designing in the future. However, numerous eventually understand the way toward exchanging stepping stools is exceptionally muddled and practically unimaginable. Those that figure out how to do the switch are regularly downgraded to the past level on the new stepping stool regardless of whether they are skilled at the new job. Google has an intricate survey strategy. Everybody rates every other person. Administrators rate their workers, who thusly rate their chiefs, different representatives, and themselves. Google calls this the 360-degree feedback. Every Googler goes through an arrangement of periodical surveys including a month-to-month audit and 2 yearly surveys. The main yearly survey, called a C, happens inside the initial half year of the year. The other is the principal audit, which happens around October and November. This principal survey is the thing that eventually decides a Googler's fate. The primary audit begins with singular Googlers posting their accomplishments for the year in close to 512 words. This data is shipped off their partners, who use it to rate them on the amount they fit into Google's guiding principle and their capacity to lead, tackle issues, work alone, and make a voice for themselves. Every Googler perceives how their associates rate them, yet can't see the rater's name, so they don't have the foggiest idea who said what. That data is selected to their administrators. The chief uses these appraisals to propose a last rate for the Googler. A few administrators later meet to align the appraisals of all their employees. By adjustment, we mean they conscious on whether the Googler got a reasonable rating from their chief. The evaluations could be expanded or diminished relying upon the choice counter. These chiefs later hold 2 additional gatherings to conclude whether to advance their representatives, increment their compensations, or give them some other input. The San Francisco Bay Territory, which contains Silicon Valley and is home to a few tech organizations including Google, is as of now encountering a lodging emergency. Leases high to such an extent that some generously compensated specialists, including Google's generously compensated programming engineers, can't manage the cost of fundamental housing. This part may sound unexpected, yet these equivalent designers began their lodging emergency quite a while prior, when they began paying lavish rents for overrated homes to make sure they could be nearer to their work environments. Rents are presently high to the point that most of Silicon Valley laborers live in less expensive lodging far away. The disadvantage to this is that they wind up going through hours in rush hour gridlock. The individuals who would prefer not to invest energy in rush hour gridlock live in transports and trucks left near their workplaces. In any case, these workers frequently decline to discuss the lodging emergency, regarding worries that it could get them in a tough situation with their bosses. Advancements are fairly simple at Google until you achieve a mid-level arrangement where your immediate supervisor can't advance you any longer. Any advancement you get after this will be at the carefulness of a group of higher-ups who arrive at their choice exclusively on the substance of your promotion packet. Your promotion bundle is a rundown of your accomplishments at Google alongside each certain audit you got during yearly surveys, an arrangement of expositions clarifying why you merit an advancement. You aggregate this data and send it to those higher-ups through your manager. This cycle sounds simple and straightforward until you find the administration in question. One senior software developer was cheated so often he surrendered to turn into an autonomous engineer. which is an extremely surprising vocation way for a Googler. The promotion bundle framework is imperfect since it doesn't take Googlers who took a shot at others' activities, endless or unimportant tasks, or have not finished a venture into account. For instance, a Googler who enables different Googlers to finish their venture won't get an advancement since it isn't their project. However, the Googler who got the assistance is probably going to get an advancement in light of the fact that higher-ups accept they were dealing with something important and have solid authority abilities. Or on the other hand, by what other means would they be able to have persuaded another person to leave their task to assist them with theirs? Googlers can game this framework by declining to accomplish charitable effort and working only on promotion parcel inviting ventures. In any case, this isn't simple in light of the fact that these equivalent higher-ups could drop their venture halfway, hand it over to different groups, or even reassign the Googler to another undertaking. Considering Google's needs are continually changing, this happens a great deal. Google is celebrated for its wonderfully planned workplaces, free suppers and significant compensations. In any case, when you look underneath all the melancholy and allure, you will acknowledge everything isn't all fancy odds and ends, particularly when you are a contractor. As of March 2019, Google had 102,000 workers and 121,000 contractual workers on its finance. That shows contractual workers make up over a portion of Google's labor force. In any case, Google doesn't consider or deal with temporary workers like representatives, despite the fact that they accomplish a similar work constantly out of similar workplaces as full-time employees. Contractors get lower pay rates and advantages than full-time representatives. They stay at work longer than required without pay and can't go to organization gatherings, parties, and go after inward positions. What's more, they can't call themselves Googlers despite the fact that they work under Google directors and can be terminated abruptly or a substantial explanation. Googlers and temporary workers can't battle huge numbers of Google's questionable approaches since Google doesn't permit them to unionize. Google doesn't straightforwardly prevent them from framing or joining associations, yet it utilizes numerous circuitous strategies to suppress their endeavors to unionize. One of those strategies includes the utilization of hostile to association experts to haggle among low and mid-positioning Googlers and contractual workers on one side and upper-positioning Googlers on the other. These experts additionally encourage upper administration on the best way to react to representative and contractual worker grievances. Erie Consultants is one of those organizations. It is well known for its enemy of association exercises and straightforwardly boasts about helping partnerships squash representative endeavors to unionize. Google rejects that Erie has any impact over its inward approaches. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and click bell.